two guys are. So first we're going to have the pledge and the roll call, and I have a flag. So.
Oh, shall I start? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Okay, we're done.
Nice job.
Next, we have the roll call. Committeeman Martin?
Marty
Drew
Tarr,
Martin.
present.
Marty Tarr, we have, okay. We're going directly to public comment. Ashley, do we have any public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay. Dale, what happens if I think a suspected public comment comes in later? Should
As far as I know, Jim, if somebody comes in later after the normal public comment, it's up to the chair whether they want to accept the public comment or not. But usually, once we get into the discussion vote item, once we get into discussion on each item, we usually take comment in the commissioners meeting. It's up to you, though.
Okay. Well, the next item of business on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting of January 25th. Have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes with one correction.
Okay. Second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, Jim, you would have to say what that correction is on the minutes.
Okay. Now, is it the correction in the minutes?
It's a word. In the second line, it said Marty asked if about the plan. I think if should be stricken.
Oh, okay.
Or about, it's not serious. It's just grammatical.
Well, I had a copy of the minutes here, but I don't know what I did with it. So, okay, well, will there be a motion to approve the minutes with the change by Marty Tarr? Is that the way we do it, Dale? Yeah, Dale says, okay, so Marty.
Drew, do you see where I mean?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, that's definitely my mistake there.
It's not a big deal, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the meaning, but it is, it just.
I make a motion though that we change the wording for remove if out of the minutes.
I second.
The second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any public comment coming yet, Ashley? No?
No one currently.
Okay. To recommend the rehabilitation of storm water sewers on Bayard Avenue, and it is in Reed, it should be Avenue, but Remington and Vernick seem to want to call it street. So they have a letter dated January 13th, 2021, and Standard Pipe Services proposal dated February 10th, 2021. And this would also include we would like to include a draw from the infrastructure fund to cover the proposed cost of the Bayard Avenue and Reed Avenue proposal. But I have a comment about Reed Avenue. Yeah, the presentation back on the February 12th meeting showed this manhole number 33, which SPS was proposing to be raised. Now, to me, that looks like a curb inlet, and I don't think that should be raised. So I would, when it comes down to approving, I will not approve that. I will not recommend that 19,000.
You still there,
Where
Jim?
is this?
I think Jim is frozen up here.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't know what he's referring to either.
Jim, they're not sure what you're referring to. If you could repeat that, you froze up for a while there.
Yeah, it's for 33.
I know the map that was included in the documents from Remington and Burdick is, as you can see it on the computer, it's pretty small, and it may be hard to see, but this manhole 33 is right out. They make it look as if it's in the middle of, well, it's not in the middle. It's in the southbound side of.
Southbound sign of what?
Jim, we lost your mic again. Jim, we lost your mic again.
If you have,
There you go. Now we hear you. You started to explain where it was.
yes? Did you hear it all?
No,
No.
we don't know where 33 is. We've lost your voice again, Jim.
Lost your mic again, Jim.
So much fun.
Jim, time out.
At Highway 1.
Jim, we
Jim.
lost your mic again. You're going to have to start over again. I don't know. The connection keeps going in and out.
Oh, dear.
We have you now.
The manhole 33
Yes.
at the southwest corner of the intersection of Highway 1 and Reed Avenue is a curb inlet. That is seen on one of the pictures that Remington and Burdick showed on their presentation at your February 12th commissioners meeting.
Right.
So as a curb inlet, I don't think it can be disturbed.
Okay. You could make a motion, though, Jim, once you decide to pass whatever you're going to pass. You could make a motion that included reworking and more information on that specific item. Therefore, you could pass the whole bundle, but still have them come back to you and the town and explain that situation.
Okay. As far as the information presented by Remington Verdict, I have no problem with it. I don't know if for both the Bayard Avenues and Reed Avenues.
I have a couple of questions.
Jim, we lost you again. Jim, we lost your mic again.
That would mean Bayard Avenue estimate that they provided of 47,727. When I added up the numbers, I agreed with that. But the Reed Avenue or Reed Street of 153,820 That was a little bit different, but then I subtracted the 19,500, and that Reed Avenue became $132,920. But we'll, so, oh, and yeah, and by the way, to the rest of the group here, I would acknowledge that they have, and Jim remembered, Cheetah's provided this information that Remington and Verdict asked for another $5,000 for inspection services during the project.
Yeah, that's
I'm okay
monitoring.
with that.
That's monitoring and inspecting. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, right.
And like I say, just so you, all the committee members understand, you could, whoever makes the motion could make the motion to adjust for that. In other words, to say that if there is a problem, they have to come in and speak with the town and Jim to make them understand what the expenses are. And you could authorize it with that condition.
Okay. So if there's no other comment from the, yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a couple of questions. I'm certainly not opposed to this, but I am questioning, we're spending money to repair or replace something, and this is prior to us actually using cameras to find out about the condition of pipes on other areas. So that's
He's
one
gone.
question.
I'm sorry, Marty, could you say that again? I apologize. I couldn't understand.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm questioning, I certainly am not opposed to what they're proposing, but I question us spending money prior to us knowing the condition of some of the other pipes in other areas. So we're going to spend money to fix this, but we don't know the condition of the other areas because they were either afraid to go and inspect because they may cause it to collapse, it sounded like, or the water was too high. So, I wonder, gee, it's too bad they haven't been here recently because the tide's been really, really low. And, it seems like they're not hopping in there to use the opportunities that might exist to see what the condition of other places are. The other is, why are we doing Bayard? I don't understand how Bayard is part of this when all the water, they have the pumping apparatus there on Bayard, and we have all the water flowing down McKinley and Hayden and all the little side streets to Reed. I can understand the Reed angle, but I don't understand why we're doing Bayard and not looking at McKinley.
Thank you. Jim, if it's all right, could I address part of that?
Thank you.
Jim, is it all right if I address part of that?
Yeah, because it's, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Dale.
Thank you. And maybe also after I finish mine a little bit, because I know a little bit about it, maybe then Mr. Zolper could also address the situation. We had the company, Remington Vernick, on the line, came in. We did have them on the line originally and came in and prioritized with the reasoning behind being what, excuse me, I'm not speaking properly. They prioritized with the town coming up with the reasoning for what the priorities would be. And they said this was the biggest bang for the buck at the time. And it would help the town the most at the time. They're doing a small section on Bayard and then the larger section on Reed. And they were the highest priority we could get at the time without worrying about collapsing some other area. Mr. Zolper, do you remember that same meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I remember that. I think Reed Street's the one that needs to be addressed first, and then over in Baird, we have a number of different problems with the piping under there that also go to Sweet Street, where actually the piping has collapsed inside and the dirt has gone into the pipes. And I know that's not weeds that we're talking about right now, but that's going to need to be addressed. But we need to address Bayard first before we start working on the Sweet Street. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Marty, did that help address it at all? Saying that, we tried to prioritize, and that was the two areas that were the same level of priority that would give the biggest bang for the buck at the time.
I understand that reasoning, but I don't understand how you can prioritize when you don't know what exists on McKinley, because apparently they weren't able to go into that on McKinley. So if you don't know what's there, how can you prioritize?
Well, we have a feeling in the long run that's probably, Mr. Zoper, you can back me up if possibly on this, or if I'm wrong, correct me. We had the feeling that that was going to be a dig up situation and not a relining type situation. We think, or that's what they believe, that's what the company believes. Mr. Zoper, is that correct?
So yeah, so on Reed Street, it'd be more or less going into the pipe, reconditioning the inside of the pipe. I think on McKinley, they were talking about possibly having to dig the street up and put in brand new pipe, if I'm correct, Mayor.
That's about as much as we can say, Ms. Tar. I'm not sure what to.
Okay, and that's not surprising to me. I guess I'm wondering then, what is the plan for that work to occur?
Well, I don't have the prioritization in front of me, but it would go, I don't know what would come next after this. I'll be honest with you. I think the areas that pipe has possibly collapsed would be next, but I don't know that for an exact fact. Mr. Zoper?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. So phase 2 of this, Ms. Tar, would be actually on McKinley Street, according to the map I'm looking at in front of me. When that would actually start, I don't have a start date for you, but of course we'd want the work to be done in the fall or early in the spring before we get busy. We want the streets torn up.
Yeah, I don't see, when I look at the map, Mr. Zoper, I see McKinley being in the green, looks like a green gray.
So
Gray
if we look in the bottom corner right here, if you look at the monitor, I've got about the priority, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it talks about the priority in the phases here. This was the last one that I've been working with, ma'am. Right down, I'm sorry it's not focusing, but right down in that corner, it talks about phase 1 and phase 2, and McKinley Street is in phase 2.
Okay, I don't think I have what you just held up. I have phase 2. This is what I'm looking at. Is that what you had out? Yours looks a little bigger than mine, or more. Hold yours up again.
So mine is the complete from Bayard,
Okay.
which is up here all the way down the Reed Street and McKinley here. And if you see this area here, these 2 spots here are phase 2. I'll have to go back and look at these other areas here and see what phase they're in, but McKinley Street is in phase 2.
Okay, that helps, because I can't see that on the map part that I have. I can just see that there's a little piece, it's gray and it has a green line going through it, which gray just says need to access.
So McKinley is on phase 2.
Okay.
I sincerely apologize to you, Ms. Tar. You're right. We should have had all these posted, every version of it posted, and I apologize for that.
But that's okay. I'm happy to hear that McKinley is in phase 2 and that it's not being just wait till it collapses and we find out. Although
Yes.
it could happen before its turn comes up, but it certainly is a big impact. McKinley, and I'm always worried about our marsh and the impact, and we certainly work that was done at Monaco Park has been wonderful. But what we're seeing now is that there really is a lot more water coming from those drains at the end of McKinley, right before the marsh, right near the Lions Club lot, and flowing down Hayden that we did not have in the past. So, it's kind of like whack-a-mole, I guess. One thing and another thing pops up, and I think that's probably going to continue for maybe forever.
Thank you. I hope we explained it a little bit.
You have, and that helps me. I don't know. And why are we doing Bayard? Because it impacts what?
That one small section of Bayard there came up with a top priority along with Reed. They were put in at the same color and the same priority between the town and Remington and Verdict.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Bill.
Jim, if I helped answer your questions, Jim?
Well, I guess so. From what I can gather, that they're recommending all this purple on Bayard. It's actually, some of it's on Swedes, and then there's also, then you're got the part on Reed. So I guess I'm somewhat, really, I'd like to have an on-site meeting with Remington and Verdict and let them.
Jim,
we lost you.
Jim, we're
we
losing
lost
you.
Jim, we lost you.
We lost you again, Jim.
There
you are. Now we got you.
I would like to suggest that Remington and Verdict come down and have an on-site meeting to explain just where these items are that they're talking about, and make it more clear in the minds of the committee before we go any further to approve and recommend anything.
Mr. Zolper, do you think that would be a problem with having either them coming down to meet with the committee or the chair, whichever they decide, before they can give a temporary authorization as long as they have a meeting with Remington and Vernick, is what he's saying.
No, I think that would work, and I think if you'd want to walk the actual line on Reed Street, if that's necessary, or meet them up here at Town Hall, or if you just wanted to do a Zoom with them. But I agree with the mayor that you would go ahead and approve it pending completion of that meeting that they're requesting.
That sounds like a good idea, because you're right, Jim. I hadn't realized, but that Swede is in purple there along with Bayard, and it's getting attention that I'm not sure why that's necessary, but looks like it goes all the way back to the Seabreeze area.
Yeah, then Jim, I would recommend what the mayor what the town manager just recommended, that we could pass it with the caveat that they come down first and meet with you and or the whole committee and to give it the final approval.
Sounds good to me.
Hey, Bill, I had one question real quick. I was just curious, a month ago or so, and maybe 2 months, I lose track of time, they redid the whole intersection on Reed and Dover. I was just wondering why was the street collapsing there, or some reason why they redid just the intersection of Reed and Dover? I just, it's curiosity.
Hey, Drew, I'm sorry. I can't answer that question, but what I'll do is if I can get you an answer to that. Or Mr. Mayor, I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry.
That was the state that came in and they had complaints about that section and another section. They made their priorities on what they were going to fix first temporarily to get it moving right now. So we can find out, that Mr. Zolper can find out from the state why that happened.
I don't know. I was just curious. I didn't know if the street was collapsing in that spot or what was going on. So just wondering.
Good question.
So Drew, for example, in New Orleans Street, there were 2 potholes. We called the state. The state came in and did what they called a cold patch on those 2 holes to get us through the summer. Then they're going to have to come back in and reevaluate the street on New Orleans on the ocean side. So they are very responsive when we do call them. We called them on a Tuesday, and by Thursday they had it done. But I'll follow up on that intersection and find out from the state what they did and why.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That was a good question, Drew.
So, should we, Dale, just sort of table this proposal from Remington and Verdict for now until after we have another meeting after the on-site meeting with Remington Verdict?
Jim, can I suggest what I had suggested earlier about passing them or proposing the motion that included a final inspection with the committee and or the chairman, depending on which way you phrase the motion, and then go ahead and pass that motion, and then it would be ready to go once you had the inspection, if you approved of it.
Okay.
Somebody would have to make that motion.
So I would need a motion to that effect.
All right, I'll try.
You could just say the committee approves upon final inspection with the committee and Remington Vernick or something along that line.
Okay, I'm going to try. I propose that the committee temporarily approve the recommendation pending an on-site meeting with Remington Vernick, with the chair and or the committee, pending availability.
That's a good way. That's a good way to say it. Ashley, did you have a comment on that you wanted to make?
I do, yeah. It just can't be the full committee. It could only be up to 2 of the members because you can't have a quorum without having public. So it could be 2 members of the committee could attend an off-site meeting with Remington and Vernick.
So it could be the same motion. They just have to understand that it can't be the whole committee. Yeah.
Right, just not a quorum.
Yeah, right.
Ooh.
Did I rephrase that?
Okay.
Ashley, do you think it needs to be rephrased or it can be used as is? Just
I
with
think
the
it could be used as is, just as long as the understanding is there and that no more than 2 members show up to meet with them.
Well, and it could, but depending on what it is, it could be that, you know, only one person would be available anyway. So, you know.
So you need Mr.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Okay.
Was that unanimous, Jim?
Yes, I voted aye. Unanimous.
Bill has a question.
Jim,
Well, yes.
Mr. Zober had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I can arrange a time which at least 2 of you can make it. Is there any day of the week or any time of the week that's better when I call them for us meeting?
Yeah, actually, you know, Mr. Zolper, I have a problem with hearing and word recognition. Dale, could you interpret that, please? I got to,
So, sir, my question is there a day or a time during the week that works better for you and people from your committee?
oh, okay. I'm here all the time, so there's, you know, so there's everything's wide open. Unless we have don't have any medical appointments for some time. So we're good anytime.
And I think it's more important that, in my opinion, it's very important that Jim Tyler be able to attend. I have a lot of flexibility too, but there are things that, that I have depending on the day. But I think, Bill get around Mr. Tyler's availability, and then if I can make it, fine, or if Drew can make it. Drew, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, it's very important that Jim's there. I personally don't have the expertise that he has, that's for sure. So
Nor do I.
Like I said, anytime.
And Jim, you know what the concerns are. So you can address those and please help with the understanding.
Okay.
Because I'm sure it's just a matter of not understanding.
And I want to apologize again. We should have had either the rest of the documentation posted that we were going to start quoting from, or we should have had Remington Verdict online to answer your question.
That's okay. The world won't end.
As far as the next meeting goes, will depend a little bit on the timing of the on-site inspection, and then we'll have the next meeting scheduled after the on-site inspection.
all right.
Okay.
Okay. The next item is if the committee members have any more comments, we'll listen to them now.
I do not.
I do not.
Okay. And I have nothing more. Did anybody show up for the public comment, Ashley?
No, no one is in the way.
Okay. After a certain person asked for it, I guess he must have decided not to anyway. So I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.